watching this situation of Israel expanding their boundaries. This French particular video they put out there really does show it all. And as you look at that map right there, the Greater Israeli Project, you see that Israel is planning on taking Lebanon, Syria, even Kuwait, parts of Jordan, well, actually all the country of Jordan, if you look at the true map behind this, the northern part of Saudi Arabia and the western part of Egypt, the eastern part of Egypt, going towards the Nile River there. Basically from the Nile to the Euphrates, they believe all of that is their property there, and therefore Israel believes that they have a right to be able to control this entire region of the land. So that's exactly what we see happening, and that's what's bearing on their uniforms. Eretz Israel, as it says on there, it is the Greater Israeli Project. And so, you know, this is no mistake what we're seeing that is taking place here in the Middle East when Israel talks about as he says, the curse, Syria, Iraq, and Iran, and those that have become a blessing, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. He does that because he is showing that they're going to have hegemony over this entire region, and basically they're going to become the dominant force in the region that controls all these countries here in that span of area that they are working in. So as we look at that as well, I want to share with you too, this video here is a very interesting video that was put out by Rania. And I want you to listen to this just for a moment here. It's only 55 seconds long there, and it really speaks to what Israel is doing in Gaza as well. Listen into this here.
Before the world and cameras, they pretend to be a moral army. But once the cameras are off, they revert to their true criminal nature. A few days ago, the Israeli occupation allowed a very small amount of medical aid to enter the besieged Kamal Adwan hospital in northern Gaza. And today, they burned those medical supplies and medicines by targeting and bombing the hospital's storage facility. This army has been blocking the entry of medical supplies into northern Gaza for 27 days. It killed 4 patients, including 2 children, in the same hospital after cutting off their oxygen supply, also killed several doctors and nurses in the north, detained others, and left the hospital with only 1 doctor. The hospital director's son was killed before his father's eyes as punishment for continuing his humanitarian mission.
That's exactly what we really get. That's what's really going on inside of Gaza. And even though we see the war has ceased in Lebanon, and now Syria, President Bashar al-Assad has fled this country. And some people say that he has abandoned his people. I disagree with that. And I feel like that the president had no other way of survival. They would have taken him out into the street and butchered him and his family had he not left. And now they're making the women to wear the burqas. They're pulling them over. They're spitting on the women that do not wear the burqas there. If you're a Christian, they spit on you. They've been rounding them up. They have executed Christians. There are a lot of things going on that the world just does not even know about. In fact, on a special report that I did here on patreon.com/Israeli News Live, President Assad and Osama, the last defenders of Damascus, Christians. And I take this from the Dead Sea Scrolls, very shocking information that I haven't even shared publicly before I go into on our Patreon channel and show to you some depth of information. In fact, there's something else I caught when I was reading those scrolls there, and I also read those both Hebrew and English both to make sure that we're getting the right translation. But there's some other things that I've discovered that I'm planning on doing yet another video here on Patreon, hopefully this week, to share with you some of the depths of what the Dead Sea Scrolls really hold. And it's actually the document, the Damascus document, that what we read in there. And it is truly that Syria was a stronghold for Christians. And the early believers, the Jewish believers that believed in Jesus Christ as the Messiah, And Isaiah prophesied that it would be the children of Israel in the latter days that would come back, forgetting their God, and destroy the land of Syria, destroy Damascus, the stronghold, and all the cities would become forsaken. I go into that information even more in depth here on our Patreon channel. And then I ran across this guy right here, a very interesting young man there. He is a Syrian-born Christian, and he shares some of his insights there of what he sees that is happening in Syria. And I want to play a little bit of that for you as well. Listen to this here.
Syria, like it's some remote island where things happen in a vacuum. Syria was the piece that connected Iran and Iraq to Lebanon and Palestine. The timing of this offensive in the last few days wasn't a coincidence. It happened right after there was a ceasefire in Lebanon. So as they destroyed Gaza, as they destroyed Lebanon, the Israelis then moved on to destroy Syria. And Turkey, which again is a co-conspirator in all this, Erdogan is admitting that he is behind the offensive. He said it on camera.
Tabii İdlib, Hama ve Humus hedef tabii Şam.
Erdogan is supporting Israel. He is NATO. He's Muslim Brotherhood. So when you have Erdogan admitting this and then Netanyahu doing a victory lap on Syrian soil on the occupied Golan Heights, I mean, what am I supposed to say?
המשטר הזה נפל, זוהי תוצאה ישירה של המכות שהנחתנו על איראן ועל חיזבאללה.
The day that Syria fell, Palestine also fell. These jihadists are an extension of NATO, okay? They've got NATO training, NATO weapons. And have you noticed that they never attack Israel, ever? Erdogan and Al-Qaeda, all they do is talk about the Ummah, and yet they won't lift a finger for Palestine. These jihadists are in Damascus, under the Israeli bombs, and they still won't fire a shot at Israel. They won't even talk about the bombings. These rebels have conspired to leave Syria defenseless. Instead of fighting Israel, they're busy changing flags and eating ice cream and giving speeches. That's how much they care about Syria. And make no mistake, because these are extremists, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham is a rebrand of Jabhat al-Nusra, which is a rebrand of Al-Qaeda. Jolani, who now they're trying to portray as some kind of statesman and a moderate, was the head of Al-Qaeda's branch in Syria. He was a deputy of al-Baghdadi in ISIS. The U.S. even put a $10 million bounty on this guy's head.
Now, notice, as he said, he was the deputy of al-Baghdadi. And al-Baghdadi was a Jewish-born Israeli working for as the head of ISIS militants. It's been proven that he was. So they bring in Jolani, the deputy minister for al-Baghdadi, fix him all up, making now the new leader of Syria. You can't help but wonder what's really going on, right?
He is a head chopper. He is a terrorist. You think Al-Qaeda is going to give Syrians freedom of speech and protect minorities and make people equal? They're already carrying out public executions, beatings. This is vigilantism. And they said they'd give Syrian soldiers amnesty and then lied about it. And they filmed their own executions. How is Al-Qaeda being in charge of Syria better than the previous regime? The people cheering this on are mental. You've taken away a bad car and then given people a bicycle instead and called it a set of wheels. I mean, this is a downgrade, to put it mildly, in every way. Syria was secular. Syria was safe for all religions and ethnic groups. Syria, remember, is a Christian country first. Christianity was born in Syria. Syria is just as much Christian as it is Muslim. But now Christians and other minorities are under threat. The first photo that they post of this new cabinet and this new prime minister, this is a state institution, right? They've got an Islamic extremist flag right next to the Syrian flag, the new Syrian flag. What kind of message is that supposed to send to Syrian Christians who make up 10% of the population and other minorities? It tells them, basically, screw you. You're excluded. That's what it means. And we see the extremism on the streets. We see the ISIS trucks driving through Christian neighborhoods in downtown Damascus, firing Kalashnikovs into the air and terrorizing people. A Christian journalist who was stopped in a Christian neighborhood and questioned about her religion.
أجبرني أن أقول هذا الشيء. قال طلع فيه إنه أنت مسيحية علوية سنية مو سنية لا إنه شيعية درزية.
I mean, this is unheard of in Syria. You got priests that are hiding their crosses when they take photos with these new leaders. And then we're supposed to look at that and believe that this is inclusive. This climate of fear did not exist a week ago. All right. Syria is going backwards. Syria was self-sufficient in oil, gas, wheat, cotton, grain. Syria had no foreign debt. Its central bank, its monetary policy were independent. They were not controlled by the West. Syria.
And I think that says it all right there. They were not controlled by the West. Israel couldn't stand it. And this is why, as we hear General Wesley Clark say, they had to take out 7 nations in 5 years. They're behind the ball on the time frame, but they're definitely on their way to make sure it happens there. Charles, thank you also for sending me this video here. I want you to see this here. This is some Jewish youth here talking about Christianity and what they should do with Christians. See, now, what are they supposed to do with Christians, right? Wait a minute, let's go back. Is it okay to kill Christians, is what he says. If they're doing a bad job, let me lower the volume down, because I know you guys don't speak Hebrew here, so let's do it this way. We have to catch them and beat them, and basically also kill them. Because he lives in the name of Shem Hamitzvot Benoach. Okay, because he lives in the name of Mitzvot, which means the mitzvah of Noah. In other words, they believe that the 7 Noahide laws, by the way, that's for those of you who don't really know what he means by that, because he lives in the name of the 7 Noahide laws is what he's saying, the mitzvot of Noah. But if that doesn't exist, then you need to kill him. If the 7 Noahide laws don't exist, just kill him then. You would have killed someone. I could, but there is not a court, so we can do nothing. But this faith belongs to somebody else. It's a belief that whoever believes in God needs to be killed. Whoever believes that my God is a part of a person. That's what that guy there was saying. Whoever believes that my God is part of a person, so I have to kill him. If someone troubles with me, then I will kill them. But isn't it your job, the guy asked, to kill or to beat? Isn't the role for Christians? No. Hashem tells us, God, us what we should do. He says, is it written, kill? Where does he write this? The guy asked him. The duty in the world is doing good. That's what that guy says there. So anyone who believes in that son of he calls Jesus a bad name, we need to kill him. He says, but where is it written? They ask him. It is written in the Gemara. I don't want was written by people, he says. He challenges him on that. He says, yes, but it was written by people that God has sent. The sage of the Torah, you need to listen to them, he says. So it doesn't matter what the Word of God really says. It matters only what the sages say, and that's where you get your 7 Noahide laws. And that's where they're going to behead you, because you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Okay, that's exactly what they're saying there. Oh, by the way, too, Charles sent me this one here, this converted tanker that Iran uses as a drone ship. I know there's some big questions about, there's a drone ship that Iran has off our coast there of sending drones into America. It's actually in the Persian Gulf is where it's at right now. It's not over in our territorial water, so that's totally false there. Two things again. I just want to remind you that patreon.com/Israeli News Live. You want to see this video. It's a very important video there. And then also to Candace Owen did a marvelous interview there with Philip Turney. We interviewed Philip Turney not too long ago. There's an awesome interview there with him, former survivor of the USS Liberty, and it is a disaster what they did, Israel, that is, Israel did to trying to sink the USS Liberty, claiming it to be a hostile ship there, and our own government willing to cover that up. Somebody wrote in the comments that they were going to have Trump, try to get their father to have Trump to open the files on the USS Liberty. He's not going to do that. Trump will bury it right along with the rest of them, so please don't get your hopes up like that. That would be a shame. And then two, I want to share with you too, we do our meetings here, and I haven't posted this one as of yet because I need to make a few edits on this before I can post it there. On our Zoom meetings that happen on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You're always welcome to come join us there. This is about Lifewave, and you can always look that up. I'll show you that in just a moment there. But we've had a couple amazing testimonies there. Even John Moore had given a testimony about his about prostate going to the bathroom. He said, I think he said like 8 or 9 times a night. He says he no longer has that problem now. He said he only gets up twice now, and instead of every hour of the night. So that's an amazing testimony there. But Jason Miller shared a beautiful testimony of a young lady, and he shows her before and after pictures there. Now, she had that very controversial thing happen to her back a couple of years ago that some people have written me about. Will X39 help with that? And that question had just came up recently in one of our meetings there. So we're very mindful about being careful about how you word things here, because a lot of people have suffered very ill consequences as a result from neurological issues and everything you can imagine. And the lady he's going to talk about here, and I'm going to play just a brief clip of this. I think she was on like 40-something, or either 20-something medications, whatever the number was. Since she's been on X39, she's been able to cut that in half and drastically changed. She's a very beautiful young woman before, as Jason describes her, and really had a horrible time after being willing to take that procedure that caused her a very serious downfall there. Let's listen to this. So yes, thank you for sharing that.
Well, I know for a fact it was the X39. So just spend no time thinking about it. Just put on X39 and continue to wear it for months. And we'll get back with more information. But in the meantime, just stick that X39 on, wear it 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
Now, he was talking about there about a girl that had suffered a stroke.
So she had so many issues going on, and
It's
so
a
many
different lady now.
specialists. She said she had 34 doctors that were assigned to her in various capacities, some on teams and some that were like specialists that were each counted as a doctor. And now the last time I heard, she was down to 6 because she had worked her way down with the X-ray. And she had gone from being prescribed 23 medications to being down to 12, and her goal was to be down to 0. So I'm awaiting some calls from her too to see where she is now. But she has, I'll tell you this, because you might have seen her pictures floating about. And so I'm going to hold up. So here she was, kind of, as she was kind of, on the most prescriptions, right? So she's really just trying to get it back together at that point. And then here she is, as she's more recent.
Oh, wow.
And much better, I don't know if that's showing.
Yeah, talk about
Zero.
He's going to show it again here, so let me get to that point right there.
Second. Okay, there we go. Now let's see both of them. That was when she was in the bad condition. Okay.
And that's Betty. That's our friend Betty out west. So,
wow. What an amazing difference.
Now, This lady here was the one that suffered, I would call it the injustice of what so many people believed was safe and ended up causing a lot of damage for a lot of people. And she's been on X39 now for, I want to say it's close to a year, if I remembered correctly on this. And as you can see there, she had that, from that change there, because of so many medications they had her on, and she went back to the way she did look before.
A little bit weird, but
you know. So, and what an amazing difference there that happened there once her body was able to generate those stem cells. And it does help tremendously from case studies with cardiovascular health. And that has a lot to do with what happens to people from that particular event there. Now, we can't speak about that here, but I just wanted to share that with you guys there. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for being here with us today here on Israeli News Live. Don't forget patreon.com. And also, easiest way too, if you're interested in Lifewave, you can just go to our website, IsraeliNewsLive.org. And if you scroll down the page on there, you'll see right here, check out Lifewave. You can click on that to join the link. You could also click on the donate online link there to help support the broadcast here. We greatly appreciate that. When you go in here, you have a choice. If you want to shop and become and get the X39, you could do it by shopping the products there. Some people like getting the bundle where it's the X39 and the X49 together. They got a discount on that right here. And if you become a subscribed member, you save $100 on that. So it'd be $179 versus $279.95 retail. If you're more interested in the business aspect of this, you can just click join. And then when you become what they call a brand partner, then you have different levels of in the business you could become a part of. And I won't go into all the details of that, but each, not counting the starter, but when you go to core, advanced, or premium, you're getting the product at even high. The higher you go, the more discounted the products are if you choose to do that. But then you can also potentially earn income from Lifewave as well, if you decide you want to do that. Let's see, there was one other thing I wanted to share with you. Let me go back and see. That was Lifewave there. Oh, yes, I know what it was. I think I remember what it was. Oh, let me see here. Let me go back to IsraeliNewsLive.org because I think there's something on there that I saw that I wanted to make sure you brought your attention to. Oh, goodness. I do not recall now. But definitely if you want to support, oh, I know what it was now. I remember now. On Patreon, you can now, if you don't want to do monthly on there, you are now able to go there and on select videos, which we made this video here, you can actually purchase one-time view of a video like that rather than having to become an actual member on Patreon. So that makes it easier too for some people that don't really want to become members. You can actually view those that way as well. Anyway, thank you for listening. I'm Stephen Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live. God bless you.